We have, with the help of the provincial, again, I must have 12 sites on the campus of the university as heritage sites. And one of the heritage sites will be the tree under which in 1956, 13 traditional leaders, including Kgoshi Ramathuba, Sekhukhune, Mpepura Mabulana, Mopedi from Qwaqwa, I think there was Pilani from the northwest, Sekhukhune, lots of Masurumule. They met under that tree and said, we need a university here. And although when in the 80s we were looking at the university, we saw a Bantustan college, it was actually the work of traditional leaders with vision who understood that to expect their children to keep going to white universities was now 65 years old this year. It has over 20,000 students, 24,000 students. Therefore, when we talk about link between academia and industrialization, let's remember those things. Mike Teke is the product of that. And he told you, he said he will come back. But he's doing big deals now, so he doesn't disclose until he knows for sure what he's talking about, because there are partners whose share prices might take a knock if he pronounced things too early. So we appreciate him as the son of the soil, and we appreciate him. Hawa Bibi Khan is going to be doing the last panel. Are your panel members here? Yeah, she's going to take us here, and as I said, if you have any investment pledge, please go to the back and look for a man called Always. He will show you the way to investing in the province.
A beautiful, blessed afternoon to Honorable Premier, together with her leadership team, the chair, board members, and leadership of MMSEZ. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to you all. My name is Hawa Bibi Khan. I'm an international deal maker and founder of the Merit Group and Toma Africa, which is our agri subsidiary. We have signed a letter of intent with the MMSEZ, which is focused on developing and investing in large-scale agri-projects in partnership with global food and agro-processing companies. So now to set the scene, we will play a video just giving you a window into the Musina Makado SEZ. Soundman, video.
South Africa is the continent's leading business and manufacturing hub and boasts the most diversified and industrialized economy. In its northmost region lies a place that's home to an abundance of wildlife, spectacular scenery, and cultural treasures. This is Limpopo Province. In addition to its natural magnificence, the province has a wealth of indigenous resources, which include rich mineral deposits and a profusion of industrial minerals. The province is also the leading producer of a wide variety of fruits, nuts, and vegetables. This also makes it home to a new world of game-changing economic opportunities. Introducing Musina Makado Special Economic Zone, ideally located in the mineral-rich area of the Vembe district of Limpopo province, lying between the Musina and Makado towns. It's a flagship initiative of the Limpopo provincial government to promote industrialization through a beneficiation economy and provide value-adding commercial business solutions. Anchored on an investment pipeline of over $15 billion, Musina Makado Special Economic Zone provides unique business opportunities in 4 clusters: resource-based, general manufacturing, green energy, and logistics. The resource-based opportunities include mineral beneficiation for the metallurgical and energy cluster and agro-processing, The Metallurgical and Energy Cluster focuses on mineral beneficiation from iron and steel, ferromanganese, ferrochrome, and other industrial minerals. Energy is derived from a coal power generation plant that will comfortably meet the needs of the metallurgical cluster. The agro-processing cluster will seamlessly facilitate the production of processed food products such as dried fruits, fruit juices, beverages, canned meat and vegetables for both domestic and export markets. The general manufacturing cluster will be the epicenter for metal beneficiation, plastics, and OEMs manufacturing and industrial chemicals. It will also provide crucial engineering support to companies located in the zones, incubation facilities for SMMEs, and a maintenance and input supply park for mining consumables, as well as mining companies for those located in other parts of the province. The Green Energy Hub will focus on generating solar power and related industries supporting it, including mass energy storage technology, such as lithium and vanadium redox flow batteries for energy storage for both domestic use and export. The zone is located in close proximity to the Beitbridge border post, the second busiest port of entry in South Africa, and a crucial commercial gateway to the SADC countries and the rest of Africa. This presents invaluable opportunities for trade, logistics, border and customs-related services and facilities such as bonded warehouses, automotive distribution centers and holding depots, container terminals, petroleum distribution hubs, and truck shops. The zone can also be used as an inland intermodal terminal directly connected by both the N1 North-South Corridor and the Johannesburg-Musina Railway for the transshipment of sea cargo to inland destinations and manufactured goods to SADC markets. For increased market access and regional economic integration, the African Continental Free Trade Area will boost intra-Africa trade and create a market of more than 1 billion people with a GDP of $2.6 trillion that will unlock further development. Musina Makhado Special Economic Zone is supported by a number of world-class universities and technical vocation colleges, producing skilled, talented, and capable workforces in the country. Investing at Musina Makhado SEZ provides special, empowering, and attractive tax incentive schemes for businesses and operators. With its unique wealth of abundant natural resources, a strategic location, and access to a reliable and professional labor pool, Musina Makhado Special Economic Zone offers investors in the mineral beneficiation, agro-processing, general manufacturing, and renewable energy industries a world of game-changing opportunities.
Okay, thank you very much. So the video has highlighted that the SEZ is the region is naturally endowed with minerals. It's a key agricultural basin for vegetables, fruit, cotton, etc. It is strategically located to deepen and feed into the Africa logistic corridor, into the SADC, to take advantage of the SADC FTA, the Africa Continental FTA, and travel down south into Durban, Richards Bay, and Maputo Port for our exports. So if this SEZ is fully invested and actualized as per its vision, it will position Limpopo to be the Singapore of SADC and the inland Suez Canal of Africa. It will span further downstream activities and open and deepen a significant industrialist base in the region. So now we go to the real business of the day. A warm welcome to our panelists. Your presence is deeply valued. Our esteemed panelists will share their investment interest in the SEZ, and their investments will address the issues as we have heard for the past 1.5 days. The issue of 1, energy security, 2, food security, 3 is there's always an attack on coal as a fossil fuel. So we will hear about transforming the narrative on coal and as coal as a fossil fuel, as a pollutant, but can create value and be aligned to the just transition. 4 is catalyzing mineral beneficiation through ferrochrome smelter and developing a mining value chain to support this ferrochrome smelter. And finally, the issue on improving our human well-being with affordable, accessible pharmaceutical products into the region. So now an introduction to our panelists. We have Dr. Hudson. Dr. Hudson, I don't know, virtually, I'm not sure if his video is meant to appear. But in the meantime, while he's coming online, Hudson is a mining engineer, an economist, and an expert on mining and mineral beneficiation, and an expert on Africa corridor development, and he's a mining academic at Wits University. Our second panelist, Naftali Mafa, is the founder of Africa Resource Minerals and Eco Energy Africa. He's focused on coal to hydrogen technologies, and he's a renewable energy player. He's based between South Africa and Australia, and he has an interest to invest and develop in an inland hydrogen valley, and he will share more. And he's to be a key energy provider to the MMSEZ, the region, the local region, and the neighboring region. He says we have to look at just transition through the black eye. Our next panelist, Chris Hong from Kinetics Development Group. He's the CFO of the South African operations, and Kinetic Development is a Chinese company listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. It's a significant coal producer and player. This year, Kinetic Energy made an acquisition, MC Mining in the region, and this has opened the mining value chain for them to invest in a ferrochrome smelter plant at the MMSEZ. If we're not invested in the exploration and the mining side, there's no case to actually set up a ferrochrome smelter. Our fourth panelist, Wilson Lakota, founder of Synergia, and he's a seasoned multidisciplinary player in the petroleum sector and has experience in downstream petroleum energy infrastructure, planning and development, and also in asset integration and operational optimization. We note these are very hard technical skills with big words, Wilson. Synergia is a big picture SA fuel infrastructure project developer, and they focus on moving petroleum products from Durban at the port to Tarleton in Krugersdorp, and then an inland a rail terminal, so there'll be an inland movement from Tarleton to the Musina, the MMSEZ, and to set up an interlink multi-product inland fuel terminal. And our final panelist is Ms. Shifiwa Modiba from Abok Pharmaceuticals. She's a pharmacist and expert pioneer in the development of pharmaceutical products, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. And she's an expert in new medicine clinical trials, vaccines, and most importantly, indigenous medicine. One of the very few black and maybe the only woman pharmaceutical manufacturer in South Africa. So you can see we have a panel that is majority black and who have solid track record in the area of expertise. So next, to open the panel discussion, we'll start with question, and the first question is directed to Wilson. So Wilson, can you share details on your MMSEZ interlink inland fuel terminal and how it will create reliable fuel supply, food security, inland fuel access, and risk mitigate against sudden wars, global epidemic that block logistic access that impact our fuel supply? Wilson.
Thank you, Awa. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to extend my greetings to our Premier, Dr. Phophi Ramathuba, and esteemed team of MECs, HODs, extended all protocol observed. Thank you so much. A great introduction and a mouthful of a question. The development of a Musina fuel terminal is squarely that. It's looking at infrastructure that can confluent the bulk movement of the fuel molecule into the region. So we set out to look the regional movement of fuel. How do fuel enter the region? What are the challenging points in terms of infrastructure, pricing points, competitive ports? So we set up a investigation leg to investigate what are the features which led to South Africa to be now the third largest importer of fuel in the region from number one. So we looked at how can we then optimize existing infrastructure from loading facility in Durban, inland fuel accumulation through Talton, and also looking at the current rail condition while we're anticipating the Transnet railway statement. What are the limiting factors? What are the pricing points in terms of metric cost per ton? Can we put rail into stream as a bulk mover of fuel? We take that right. So it means what we do, position Musina as a competitive leg relative to importing fuel via Vassal Bay, Beira, and Matwal. We found that pricing point. Then realized that Musina could serve three points: price competitiveness of supplying fuel into the region, strategic fuel reserves, interlinkage of international supplies with regional off-takers. We found that the market has changed. The market has changed in such a way that the international suppliers, they're no longer in a position of wanting to favor take and off-take. They want to be linked with their strategic off-takers in the region. They're looking for major regional infrastructure developers. That's where Synergia came in. That's the way we determined the key pilot projects is to develop Musina Fuel Terminal.
Thank you very much, Wilson. I'm sure that set a good scene, and you can see, Premier, that there's seriousness of investor interest. Next, Chris Wang from Kinetic. Please share your plans on your Kinetic ferrochrome smelter plant at the MMSEZ, and countering the narrative that ferrochrome plant production investment is on the downward trend and not easy to develop currently in South Africa. Chris?
Thank you for the question, it's more than excited. I'm sitting here on behalf of my company, Kinetic Group. Actually, a little bit introduction of my company. We are a main business in China as a coal mining, and we have some side businesses in agriculture, real estate, and other businesses. Our investment step into South Africa is actually preliminarily regarding the ferrochrome project because fundamentally South Africa is the largest chrome resource and reserve country in the world. And we believe we can be competitive if we engage into that industry directly from the all supplying country, which can shorten a lot of transportation costs and other related costs, comparing with China local production at the moment. And also, our very first step investing into South Africa is through MC Mining acquisition. We are already the shareholder, but the transaction overall is not completed yet. But we will be likely producing our first thermal and coking coal by end of next year. So from the raw material supply point of view, that we can supply in future our own coking coal, which can be partly used directly into the ferrochrome furnacing and smelting process, and partly can be put into the next step coking process. I mean, in general, it is also a cost cutting for the raw material supply. So this is a topic back in China. Is also we call it a supply side restructuring, because the competitiveness can be quite intense in China. That a company without the raw material advantage will be squeezed out. So that's we quite aim the South African operation as a very strategic project. And also, we are looking for not only the material supply from third party, we are also trying to secure our own chrome or feedstock. We're targeting upstream mineral deposit level opportunities as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much, Chris. We've seen that Wilson and Chris's projects are actually quite energy intensive. So we asked Naftali Mafa from Africa Mineral Resources and Eco Energy Africa to please share your plans on how you're going to support Chris and Wilson, amongst others, to establish your inland hydrogen valley how you're going to transform coal to hydrogen and biofuels to hydrogen. And how can your project be a key energy supplier to the MMSEZ, the region and neighboring countries? Naftali?
Thank you. First of all, I just appreciate the honor of being here. Honorable Premier, thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name is Naftali Mafa. I come from the Mupani area in Mujaji district, and my mayor is here. I come from there. I'm the founder of African Resource Development. It's a BE company. That's the structure in a nutshell. It's a BE company out of Greater Litawa. It's also the BE company owned an Australian company which is called African Resource Development Australia. And then that African Resource Development Australia is a contractor, underground rapid development contractor. It partners with a company in Australia, about 10,000 square meters of workshop to refurbish the underground mining equipment there. We supply most of West Africa with those equipment, and we do rapid development in parts of West Africa and South Africa as a BE company. So part of the revenue that comes from there has been used to acquire a company called Eco Energy International. It's a patent holder of coal to hydrogen and also ways to syngas conversion. So I asked that the introduction should be that what I'm going to talk about for the time that I'm here is that if no one remembers anything that I said, the first thing that I'm trying to drive to the Honorable Premier is that we cannot industrialize this province or this country without coal. We cannot fire the smelter with the solar. So if anything, it's what I'm going to try and drive. And I am saying that because the theme, what I would like to talk about is that the just transition, there's a lot of people that are looking at just transition, a lot of nationalities that are concentrating on just transition, but I look at just transition through a black eye. I am saying that because I'm black and I've got black eyes. So not everyone can look at it through a black eye. So that means that there's different interest when it comes to the just transition. My transition, I look at it through a black eye. Doesn't mean that other people's view of the transition is wrong or different. It's just that it's not my point of view. My point of view is that South Africa is not going to industrialize without coal. The future for industrialization, we know it's the revenue. That's where everything comes from. So I just need to make the background clear. So our interest in the SEZ is that we had a lot of people that are bought or whatever in the SEZ campaigning about the coal being filthy. We understand that. So the other second point that I need to drive through is that there is nothing wrong with coal. That's the first important thing, because there's two things wrong with coal. There's sulfur and the emissions. So if you take those two contributors, you still have the coal, you still have the industry, you can still use the coal. Okay, so that is where we're at. And our contribution in the Musina-Makado Special Economic Zone is that I'm from Limpopo, so Vembe is still a bit further, but it's close enough. So the way that our people are going to have equal rights and rights to electricity and opportunities in this world is to be able to be sustainable. Sustainability comes from revenue. Revenue comes from industry. Industries are power generated. You cannot run the country with solar. You cannot run the smelter with solar. That is not going to happen. I think that needs to be clarified. So what am I saying? Should we continue to burn the coal? No. I'm saying that we have spent a lot of money in working on the technologies to take off the carbon which is a problem, to take off the sulfur which is an issue, repurpose our power stations, fire our power station, existing coal-fired power station, by the way. So we repurpose them, refurbish them, fire them. That's a critical thing. Fire them with a different fuel. The same fuel still, though, come from the feedstock, which is the coal. What does that do? It maintains the coal industry. South Africa is in trouble at the moment. We have got issue where I'm not going to talk about unemployment.
Sorry,
because...
Naftali, we're going to cover some of the questions.
Oh,
so
okay.
wrap up.
All right. Yeah, sorry. I get a little bit passionate. I do
Is it
apologize.
valuable, Premier? Okay, please go ahead then. So we're here to serve. Okay, cool.
Thank you. Thank you. Sounds like Parliament. I'm being protected. So the only way that we're going to sustain this place is that we're going to have the energy security for us first. For us. So we're going to look after us first, and then we can be able to look after anything. If we cannot keep the lights on ourselves, we are not in a good situation. I'm not making this up, and I said I'm not going to talk about unemployment because we know the stats about unemployment is extremely high. The government is struggling. Today, as we speak, the cost of living in South Africa, it's way too high. It's that high that when you earn money, you cannot afford to live every day on that money. We have seen that has been gazetted. It's called the two-pot system. Two-pot system means that you are living today, you are working today, you are earning today, but you cannot not afford to pay for today. So what do? You go and borrow tomorrow to fund today. Now, when tomorrow comes, what are we eating?
Okay, thanks very much, Naftali. So you see that this province has produced global citizens. And this panel is for us to reclaim ourselves and assert our space, claim our spaces locally and internationally. And that localization is good. So our final introduction speaker is Ms. Shafiwa from ABOC Pharmaceuticals. She's a pharmaceutical manufacturer, so please share details on ABOC and your plans to establish a manufacturing plant for vaccines, liquid solid dosages, I'm remembering those words, Shafiwa, healthcare products that are also used by households regularly, locally and in the region. Shafiwa?
Thank you so much, Hawa. Greetings, our Premier and all protocol observed. My name is Chipiwa Mudiba. I call myself an industrial pharmacist. We both know that we are mainly working somewhere, but we don't industrialize this profession. I'm the founder of ABOC Pharmaceuticals, and we are now manufacturing the oral dosages and the liquid in the form of tablets and syrups. We are mainly dealing with complementary right now. We're still on Schedule 0, what we are doing. But we are listed with almost all pharmaceutical wholesalers in South Africa, and we are listed with all cash and carries, and as well as the supply, and as well as your spa, your chain, the chain stores. So why are they after our products? As our niche is all our products are accessible and they are cost effective. We want to change this norm that pharmaceuticals are very expensive. We need to come back and say, how do we change this? And we are there to make that change. And presently we are in partnership with an Indian company that has dossiers that from Schedule 1 to Schedule 7 registered with FDA and as well as SAPRA. So they are assisting us with all that we are doing. And what we would like to do with at the SEZ is, when we met our Premier, when we met your young and brilliant Ms. Borogo, when we presented what we need to do, she said, she accepted that with smiles. We envisage to have, okay, thank you. We envisage to have a facility, the state-of-art facility, which will include the parenterals, the vaccines, and we must be ready for the next epidemic, the next pandemic. You know, my Premier, that every 10 to 20 years, we have epidemics. For example, when I'm talking about epidemics, I'm talking about diseases like HIV and AIDS, which then developed to be chronics. Pandemic, we had it. Let's be happy that in our lifetime, we were part of those who were part of the pandemic. So pandemics happens every 50 and 200 years. Probably the next pandemic, when it comes, we won't be there. But are we ready? Did we see what happened with COVID? What happened? How did we receive the vaccines? We were depending on other countries to supply us. We are here, my Premier. We are ready and we want to work and make sure that through the SEZ, when whatever comes, we will never have these health challenges, and we make sure that we will deal with whatever that comes our way. And then we would like the SEZ to expose us to the markets in Africa and to the world and show that Africa can be that innovative. And we want to bring indigenous herbs, indigenous systems in our medicines, because we know chemicals mainly, but we know that when COVID came, most of the Africans used their traditional herbs and whatever that they could use, and they were helped. But we need to prove, we need to follow the ethical standards, we need to comply, we need to be there, and using safety. And our medicines, we know that we must check the efficacy. You know, my Premier, I'm telling you what you know. And we are here. We are saying we want to change. We want to industrialize this pharmaceutical. We are here for you. I thank you.
Thank you, Shifiwa. Just a little infomercial for Shifiwa. She has Abok cough mixtures, the winter greens. Please buy the Abok winter green rubs. And Premier yesterday spoke about the Avo face mask. Hers is that she has the magnesium sulfate laxatives, which we say is the common practice in our communities. Next is, we haven't spoken about the size of the investment. So Chifiwa, you said your initial first phase will be about 300 million?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And we need 5,000 square meters from the SEZ. And investment is just under 400 million.
Okay, thank you. Wilson, you said your investment is 2.5 billion. Just give us a quick spec.
Just to be precise, it's 2.4 billion, which will cover 220,000 cubes of storage facility interlinked with rail gantries and truck loading gantries. So that's your battery limit in terms of initial infrastructure design.
Okay, thank you. Chris, your investment? Sound, please.
I think for the first phase, is it on? Yeah. For the first phase, production capacity is like 125 tons per year. The ballpark number for capex is $50 million. Yeah. And
Okay.
for the ultimate goal, if everything, the conditions are okay, we can go up to 1 million tons per annum, the ferrochrome capacity.
Do you have a number attached to that, approximate?
Not yet.
Not yet. It's a few $billion. Naftali, yourselves? I know it's a difficult question for you.
We
A
haven't.
quick question. Answer.
Okay. Well, we haven't quantified the money yet because we have signed the MOU with the SEZ, and in the middle of the MOU there was going to be a power station, a 3,000 megawatt power station, and then there wasn't going to be a power station, and then we're going to do the solar with the 1,000 megawatt, and then we don't know, and then so we are waiting for the land to be allocated for you, and then we're going to get an offtake agreement for the hydrogen to be used in the metallurgical cluster, and then we're going to decide how we're going to go with the power station. When we have got the numbers, we'll be working backwards to see this is how much we're going to produce. To produce this much, this is how much we need to get there. So
Okay.
we kind of tracking.
So
backwards.
Naftali, yours depends on what the energy demand will be, and then the rollout of your reactors over a period of time.
It does, and then we've been there. Like one CEO comes, one CEO
Okay.
goes. One CEO comes, then the environmentalist protest. And then,
Before the program director whack us. So the next question is, Wilson, to yourself. So with this Synergia inland fuel terminal being located in the MMSEZ, what's the game changer, and how does this practically address the food security for the region, the local region, South Africa, and the neighboring countries?
Thank you so much, Hawa. Let me just answer that question in terms of numbers. And I'm happy the Deputy Minister is here. It will talk to volumes. I'll just give you numbers, which will then inform the project feasibility drawn from our feasibility studies. One, the SADC region consumes over 11.8 billion liters per annum, growing at 2.7% annually. So projected over 15 years, the continent will be taking over 18 billion over the next 15